What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Panda here, and we are finally back. I believe I have finally figured out all of my audio issues, and I am no longer sick. I still have a little bit of a cough, but definitely feeling a lot better than I have the last few weeks. So huge apologies for being me. Even after making a few videos, I got sick again, like right after I made those videos of me being back, and then I still had the audio issues. But we are officially back. Let's do a quick account update because a lot has changed since the last time I made a proper video. Let's dive right in. And welcome back, guys. So like I said, a lot has changed since I made a actual proper video. You know, with being sick and everything, I've been playing a little more casually just because I really haven't felt great over the last couple weeks. You know, I had a couple different illnesses. My family was a little bit sick, as I've mentioned in the last couple videos that I have done, and I'm still sort of recovering from a little bit of a cough. I was also assaulted at work. So for those of you that don't know, I work in a psych hospital, which means I'm dealing with people in kind of probably one of the worst situations that they've really ever been in, and sometimes tempers rise and they decide to make a very bad decision, and sometimes that unfortunately leads to people getting injured, and I unfortunately was one of those people in this situation. So I've been kind of thrown all over the place, which is why I've been a little Mia, but I believe I am good to go. I believe I should have videos coming out regularly. I might even put out a couple extra videos just to sort of catch up because, like I said, it's been a while since I've made content for you guys, and I want to get a lot of stuff out there. But let's quickly just take a look at what has happened on the account over the last couple weeks. Well, there's one thing. Let's go ahead and make some room real quick because I'm bad, and I didn't have room made. Oh, let's see. Do we get something good? Yeah, not really. It's not that great. All right, so let's take a look at what has happened on the account. You'll see a couple really cool things. I honestly don't remember when I made a video last. It's been that long, so we're just going to take a look at kind of where everything is so you can get a feel. I know there's quite a few champions here that I did not have before that I have since gotten. One of the big ones is we have Silas, and we also have Silas's skin, which I have not put on yet, so there is that, which is exciting. I don't think I have skins for anyone else. Let's double check though. Yeah, I don't think I mean, I have these skins, but nothing crazy. But yeah, so we picked up Silas, which is really exciting, and we also got his skin, which looks really cool. I really like the bow. I think it looks awesome. But yeah, he's looking pretty good. This is not his set that I've been using for, like, when I'm pushing content. I usually put Zillitu's set on, or sometimes Valeria's set if I'm using Zillitu as well, for, you know, because it's Infernal Roar and it's a really, really good set. But this is the set I'm using for farming purposes, for things like Gear Raid 3, etc. It's a pretty decent set, but nothing too crazy. We do have him max skilled, except for this last passive, which we are working on. We just need some more legendary skill dust, as per usual. But yeah, he's looking pretty good. I'm not too bad. Pretty nice. We also, of course, we do have the Vierna, so we do have the bond skill, which makes him just that much better. So really excited to really kind of get some real good stuff out of him. We also, I believe I had this before, but I'm not positive. We did get A1 Boreas, which is exciting because we get that additional 40% trigger chance during his ultimate, which is really, really nice. We also did the 1+1 and pulled an A1 for Valeria, which means we get that sweet 100 attack speed during her ultimate, which is really exciting as well. And of course, we got our girl Lust, who has been very fun for the account. You can see she's currently in an Infernal Roar set. Not the greatest Infernal Roar set, but definitely not bad. Looking pretty good. And then we go down, and I believe you guys saw this already, but if you didn't, we did pick up a Torador, which is our second legendary lord. As you can see, we had Morrigan from before, and now we have Torador, which is really exciting. We did also pick up an A1 Broke here, which was kind of a fluke. I literally was just doing the daily summon because it was going to get me both my daily and my weekly, and it was during the last event where you got the extra stuff for the tile. I can't remember the name of the event, but where you have the tiles and you get dailies, give you those little things that you roll and you can get rewards. I typically will do single summons every day for that just because it's some extra rewards. And we happened to pull a Brokir, which was exciting because now we get that A1, which is actually really, really nice because you get that extra survivability when you get the freeze whenever his ultimate shield is gone, right? Which is really, really exciting. We did also get A3 on Volca because we did clear, I believe it is tied stage 140. So that is really exciting as well. Even though her A3 is like nothing crazy good, it's nice. I think it will be good in certain situations, but I'm not currently working on skilling her up at the moment. So like I don't even have this skilled up to be really effective because this ends up going up to 7% and 2%. So then it becomes doubled. So it would be 14% and 4%, which is actually a decent amount of healing. I'm just not really using her at the moment. So nothing really crazy there. And then the rest of these are pretty much the same. Nothing really special here in terms of the epics that we've got built. Of course, we do have the A2 Aurum, which you guys knew about. And then let's see, there was another thing. Yes, A1 on our Kai, which Kai is not someone that I am currently using, but getting his A1 does make him a little more viable, but he does get really, really good at A3 and at A5. So he could be potentially usable in some situations later, but I'm not currently using him, and I don't currently have any plans to build him going forward. So nothing super crazy there. But that's kind of the update on the heroes. I guess actually let's go over artifacts as well, because we've actually had a lot of artifacts upgrades. I know one of the last things that I put out was a sort of artifact info. We've actually gotten a lot more since then, so really exciting. We do have a maxed Spirit Siphon, and we have also pulled an additional Spirit Siphon, which is really, really good for guild boss purposes, because now we can actually have two. And since I do have Silas now, that means that Silas can have one as well as Hex having one, which is really exciting for our marksman specifically. Then we haven't really gotten anything else special in terms of marksman artifacts, so nothing too crazy there. But then we can go to our fighter artifacts, and we have gotten a lot of fighter artifacts. I mean, a ridiculous amount of fighter artifacts recently. We went from having no Lunacy Visors to having 4 copies of Lunacy Visor, giving our Cerberus a very powerful artifact for Immortal Codex specifically. I do hopefully can get the next 2 here soon, so the next time Immortal Codex runs around, we can really make good use out of Cerberus, because even with a 3 awakened Lunacy Visor, it's still not as powerful as you would think, but it's definitely not bad at all. Then we also have picked up quite a few Flux Pendants. We actually just picked up another one. I'm actually focusing on Flux Pendants from the guild shop right now, because even though the legendary skill crystals are important, I have a good income of legendary skill crystals at the moment, and I'm being held back by dust rather than crystals. And so right now I'm focusing on maxing a Flux Pendant for Valeria, and then I will go back to purchasing the legendary skill crystals every month, just because I think that getting this is very important. Taking this all the way up is going to be very, very good for Valeria and guild boss, and of course other things as well. We've also picked up quite a few Eye of Sins. We have this double here, this Awaken 1, and we also have another one here for Awaken 2. Same thing with our Frigid Flame. We do have an Awaken 1, and we've pulled 2 more. And then as you can see, we have 8 Scarlet Hunts, which we're not even using at the moment, because I don't really have a bleed champion that I'm using in Guild Boss to make it worth it. And I don't think that it's really worth building a bleed champion at this point for Guild Boss, because I think I just have better options. But maybe that's not true. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comment section below if you guys think that I have a better setup that I could use, of course. Then, of course, when it comes to our mage artifacts here, we have gotten I believe we got 1 extra tier of Twilight since the last time. So we now have a total of 6 tier of Twilights, which again, I would love to take this one up higher, but at the moment I'm lacking in mithril, which I think is a normal thing to be lacking. So at the moment I'm just using them kind of spread across, but I will eventually take them up and use them to boost the other ones, of course. Then when it comes to our healing artifacts, we have finally gotten our first max euphoric orb, which is really exciting. We are working on maxing out an Elysian epitaph. I think this is going to be really good for the healing immortal codex. I didn't actually put any upgrades into any of my healing ones this recently, simply because the healing immortal codex was not around and I wasn't going to get any real value out of it. So as you can see, like, I have a ton of these Taya's bombs, I have a ton extra of the Elysian epitaphs, but I just didn't feel like it was worth using my mithril on it because I wasn't going to get any crazy value out of it. So that's one of the things that, like, I highly recommend you guys going and looking and double checking and being like, am I actually going to gain anything from, you know, upgrading this specific artifact right now, because in some cases you might not. One of those cases would be when it comes to bastion rings, for example. Bastion ring, perfectly fine at base. You don't need to promote it at all. It only increases the damage reduction by 1% for each blocked unit, which gives you a total of anywhere from 4 to 5 blocked units, depending on if you are Avalon, for example, or if you are someone such as Olag, who gains an additional block with his ultimate. Then you could potentially get a little bit of extra damage reduction, but it's not as important as having the base 1 block on multiple champions, specifically when it comes to the Immortal Codex. So I believe that the new sort of quote-unquote meta of artifacts when it comes to tanks is just having 6 Bastion Rings and or 6 artifacts that increase block for a champion. So for example, I have these 3 Bastion Rings here, I have a 4th Bastion Ring here, but then I also have... where is it? I'm not seeing it. It's not showing up. Where is it? Am I blind? Where's my Azor artifact? Let's just go find Azor. I don't know why it's not showing up. Azor. Am I blind? What is happening? There he is. For some reason, he wasn't showing up in my exclusive thing. My Azor artifact, right, which does increase the block by 1 during his ultimate. So this is not as good as a Bastion Ring, but it is value in Immortal Codex because it gives you an additional block that you can use when you need it, which is really good because it basically effectively makes Azor's ultimate like an Oleg ultimate in the sense that it gives you an additional block at the ready. Of course, I do believe that having a Bastion Ring on a better tank than Azor is going to be better overall, simply because Azor is not the best tank in the game. So having... For example, if I were to be able to pick up another Bastion Ring and use it on, for example, my Isolde, I think that would be better, right? Because, you know, then I can have better tanks in my lineup that make a little more sense overall. But it's still not bad. I've done really well when it comes to Bastion Rings. I'm really happy with the amount that I have, right? Because I've got, I think I have 4 now. 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. I think it's 4. Yeah, 4. I've got 4 now. So I do need to get 2 more if possible, because then I can really make a lot more progress in that Immortal Codex. But overall, we've done really well when it comes to Immortal Codex. So I'm definitely not mad. And we've made a lot of progress when it comes to our artifact progression on the account too, which is really, really important. And then there is one other really, really big gain that we have made, and that is when it comes to Gear Raid 3. We have officially cleared Gear Raid 321, which means we are a big boy and have all 3 of our 21s on farm. It's surprising to me that Gear Raid 3 was our first Stage 18. It was our first Stage 19, and yet it was our last Stage 21, and that's because Gear Raid 3 is, in my opinion, the most difficult of the gear raids because of how sort of champion specific it is. And I know a lot of people will say, oh, you don't need to have those champions. And yes, that is very true. You do not need to have those champions. but it is really hard to do some of these things without some of those champions. For example, if you don't have an Idril, it's really hard to do this stage without an Idril. Same thing is if you have an Idril, but you don't have a Dolores, it's really hard to get the damage that you need for your Dolores to be able to do the damage she needs to do for you to be able to survive. Same thing with if you don't have someone like a Nyx or a Razak or, you know, someone who can handle the left side. It can be very difficult sometimes to clear that left side. So there's a lot of very specific roles that need to be filled in here. While as, for example, in Gear Raid 1, you just need a mage, right? You just need a mage that does a lot of damage, and then you just need a heal immunity or another mage that does a lot of damage so that you can out damage the healing. So there are, of course, very specific things you need for certain stages, but I think Gear Raid 3 is the most things, if that makes sense. Gear Raid 2, definitely the easiest because you just need basically one big damage dealer, 1 to 2 good tanks, and then a bunch of warm bodies. And that's pretty much all you need. And then of course you need Volca at A1, which again is free, so not super crazy there. But other than that, I mean, it's very, very, very difficult to do Gear Raid 3 in comparison to Gear Raid 2. But I am excited to say that I have officially cleared all of my 21s, as you can see. 21 on Gear Raid 2 and 21 on Gear Raid 1. We are officially a big boy. You can see it right here. We have our Conqueror, which I literally just got my Gear Raid 321 done yesterday because I was lazy and I did not want to sit down and do it. But overall, I am very proud of the progress that we have made. We are currently sitting at 143 in the Tide. I haven't actually gone in and tried to optimize it. There is a good chance I could potentially optimize this to give me more overall BP in order to do better things. You know, like for example, my Silas isn't in here, but maybe I have someone who's not as high as Silas that would make more sense, etc. There is definitely some room to grow here. I am hoping to be able to push to 145 here very soon. That's kind of the next big goal. And then, of course, the next big thing is Guild Boss. And I know you're all wondering, have I pushed 50k in Guild Boss? The answer is no, I have not. And the reason is because I've just been lazy and I haven't wanted to sit down and do it. However, I have made some progress overall. You'll see here that, you know, this is actually not a good, it's not showing me the other run. This is the bad run where I ended up wiping early. I had a much better run on here, but you'll see that like we are getting really good numbers on our Zillatu. And of course we do have Silas now, which is a big game changer. And there's definitely some potential to grow there. We also, of course, have our Lust, which is another big potential to grow. We don't have Arrogance, which I think is kind of one of the biggest problems, because you can see here that like Lust does good damage, but you also kind of want Arrogance here as well. And I don't know if it makes sense to use the champions that I'm using like Lust by herself or just with someone like Valeria, even though I have Torador. So there is a little bit of sort of room to grow there. A little bit of practice makes perfect, but I am really, really excited to give it a try and see what we can do. But yeah, that's kind of where the account's been. We're coming up on 20 minutes here. It's kind of a long video, but I wanted to give a sort of a rough, this is what's been up with the account, just so you guys can kind of have an idea of where I've been and what's happened on the account, what I've been doing in terms of summoning, etc. We went all in for Lust. We went all in for the 1+1, and we have started to save. You know, we don't have too much, right? Because we just sort of burned everything, but we have a little bit of savings that's already sort of sitting here awaiting it to go. And I'm excited to see what comes in the future. But guys, that's going to be it for me today. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button so you let me know you liked the video. Leave a comment down below with what progress have you guys made in the last few weeks since I've been around? And thank you to the couple of you guys that have reached out to me about the audio issues, the people who have reached out to me just to check in and see how I'm doing. There's been quite a few of you guys through DMs, on YouTube comments, through other content creators even. I'm really, really happy to see that you guys care. But we are back, so don't worry. We have a lot more content to come. Don't forget to subscribe to see when that content goes live, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.